the debate?
Yeah, I watched the debate. Yeah.
Did you believe David won the debate?
No.
Oh, okay.
Ooh.
Why not?
I think because in the argument, he was sticking to the script where David Fontaine, he pivoted, and
Who's David Fontaine?
Sorry, John Fontaine. Sorry.
Hey. This, I don't think you guys don't know, but me and remind me of your name. Sorry.
Jason
Burns. Jason Burns. Me and Jason go back, way back, like 15 years in Manchester. I used to have a Dawud table for about 7 years, and every week we used to speak. And Jason Burns was, do you remember when I saved you from the atheist that time?
Yeah, you bought me some dates, bro.
They were trying to attack him, Billah, extremist atheist. Anyway, Jason Burns was the first person to refute my booklet, Jesus and the Injeel. Do you remember that, Jason? It's one of your first videos on YouTube. Because you was one of the first people to get hold of it. Do you remember?
I do. You're a very nice guy, John.
So I wanted to put that in there.
My understanding, forgive me, what I saw in the debate is David was assuming what the gospel and the Torah was, where John was pivoting and saying, "You're making an assumption there. You've got to prove that." And so John gave his evidence, and he was saying it was an internal critique. And what David should have done, he should have either gone into the internal critique and torn that apart in some way, somehow, in terms of giving some detail about maybe other hadiths or critiquing those hadiths that John brought in, or he should have brought some outside evidence or some other evidence in the Quran. So that was my take on it.
Do you think that David brought any evidence for his position?
I think David was taken by surprise. I think he.
Do you think David won?
No, he doesn't.
He thinks you won.
No. I think David was taken by surprise because I don't think he'd done any research on John. Because if he'd have done research on John, he'd have been a lot more prepared. I think he was thinking off the hoof all the time, and you could see that, and he was getting a bit flustered.
I'm surprised his people didn't.
Yeah, but Jason, with respect, I asked you if you think that David presented any evidence for his position, not whether he was flustered.
Because he didn't engage with the main argument. The main argument that John Fontaine was bringing, he was not engaging with that because he didn't really understand what John was trying to do. He was saying things like, if I remember, I can't remember. I'm getting a bit tired. I've been really busy the last few days, guys. But I just thought John Fontaine, pivoted and took the assumption and took the rug from under David's feet because there was an assumption by David.
I have a question, Jason, if you don't mind.
But I don't want to go into detail. That's my honest opinion.
I just have.
We appreciate that.
Yeah, we really appreciate it. I just have a question because
there's 1, 2, 3, there's 4 of you, and I'm really tired, guys.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's just curiosity of what you're thinking. It's not a grilling or anything like that.
Yeah. There's no gotcha moment or anything for Christians or for yourself. I'm just curious. Do you think that John Fontaine provided evidence for his position or enough evidence?
I didn't agree with it. I think he provided evidence, and that evidence needed to be challenged. He should have done. He should have had some idea what John was going to say. So he should have listened to streams, because there are streams where John's given some ideas out, and so he should have done a critique of some of the sources that John was bringing up with the hadiths. Maybe brought some of the different hadiths, or show that the isnad of those hadiths was not correct. He should have gone into the internal critique and said, "All right, I'll come into that with you," and then torn that apart and given evidence, because John did give evidence. And he didn't give any.
But John didn't only bring the hadith, hadith, right? He brought Quranic verses as well.
Yeah. I'm not saying he didn't, But what I would have done, and I'm no way any good as any of you guys or David or Avery, because they're a lot more smarter than me. But what I would have done, first thing I would have done is I'd have watched John Fontaine's stuff, John's stuff, and I'd have just find out what he was thinking. And you could see David hadn't done that. He just was going on the script. He hadn't done his research on what John was going to say. So the whole debate was just him trying to.
Do you agree with me, Jason, that David Wood's opening statement just laid out the red carpet for John?
Yeah, he didn't. In that opening statement that he made, he should have provided some underpinnings for what he was saying, ready for what John would be reporting.
Final question, Jason, because I can see you're tired.
Oh,
I'll let you have an question.
I'm just being honest, guys.
Do you believe when the Quran
now.
speaks about the Torah Injeel, do you think it's referring to your Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, in Medina?
Well, what I would have first of all, not just looked at the typical verses that the Quran says, but I would have gone through. There's a book by Reynolds on the Quran and the Bible, and I'd have listed all the verses of the Quran that was mentioned in the Bible, and see if there was a connection there. I would have had to find.
What's your position right now? What's your position right now?
Yeah, my position is the Islamic dilemma is still there.
What's the dilemma?
But I would have given.
What's the dilemma? For example, I would have tracked that. I'm not just no disrespect. I'm not interested in what could and should.
I'm tired.
I know, Jason. I'm not going to dig you too deep, but I just want to ask you a simple question.
And I've been honest about the debate.
You have, Jason. But let me just ask you this question: if the Torah Injeel in the Medina wasn't what you're reading today, would there be a dilemma?
If the
Torah Injeel the Quran refers to isn't the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John and your Old Testament in Medina.
If it was a slam dunk, which I don't think it is.
No, I'm just asking you if it
was, there'd be no dilemma.
There'd be no dilemma. So for you to prove a dilemma, you need to demonstrate that what they were reading in Medina was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Is that correct?
Yeah, no, I wouldn't agree with that, because then what I would do is I would
say a step further. Even that wouldn't establish his position. At best, then you're saying there are two books in Medina.
I think we should let him go because
I would say the premise.
I'm going to end this soon anyway, so I'm not going to keep
going. The premise
going.
cannot be established.
4 hours, man. Mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
All right, Jason, take care, dude.